So welcome everyone, and this is our first Meet the Speaker webinar, and our speaker this evening that we're going to be speaking to is the lovely Denise, and she is gracing us with her presence at our amazing conference in November in North Devon. And she's just been telling us about a conference that she's been to, so they obviously set the bar quite high, so we're going to have to kind of go go in and yes, do the same thing, absolutely share from that beautiful place, because I know last year at our conference the feeling in the room was just amazing, and you weren't there with us last year, but you're going to be there this year. So do you want to tell us a little bit about you and what you might bring to our conference?
Yes, well, thank you, Debbie, first of all, for the invitation. I'm really pleased to be coming down to Devon. What do I bring to the conference? I mean, it's really one of those things where I've just realized that, well, I just feel I'm really ready to share what it is I've seen. I've been six years since coming across this understanding, but 30 years in performance as a sports coach and as a sports athlete. So I've really kind of known about flow and things just appearing in my body, like, feelings just appearing in my body naturally or without effort. And then 6 years ago, I realized, oh my word, this is what's been happening all the time. And I didn't know that. Like, I didn't have any map for it. I didn't see it. Therefore, I couldn't actually see it anywhere else in my life. So I thought it was something that showed up when I was performing, but I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that there was this beautiful place I would go where I would disappear. And I would just be moving and running and shooting and passing the ball, and everything would be happening really quickly, but it felt like it was really slow inside my mind. But I thought I was doing that. I thought that was Denise and all my training. And then I realized lots of different insights that, no, actually, that's not me. That's kind of the source of all human performance coming through me. And although, of course, I need to train and I need to get this physical body in shape, but that there was something else going on besides me grinding out my program. And it's so helpful to see that. So I guess what I'm inspired to bring to the conference is very much, if you like, demystifying achievement and performance in a really big way, because we get caught in so many misunderstandings around performance. And me too, and I still do. But the more I see it and the more I get sight of it, the better life gets and the more fun it gets, and actually the more I achieve in life. And it's the funniest thing. I just didn't see it before.
That backwards bit, that blew my mind too, that it was kind of like, who knew that if you actually took a step back and had some fun and breathed and allowed, that's when it all started to happen. So will you share with us some of the takeaways that you've just had from the conference that you've been to, that have maybe shifted things for you, things that you've seen open things up for you a bit?
Yes, so I've just been to the 3pgc.org conference in Los Angeles, and it was so lovely to see all of the, so-called first generation speakers together. And I guess what I really took from it, and it really warmed my heart, was that we all have our own individual, if you like, expression of what it is that has touched us deeply. And it really we don't need to get caught up then on how we describe that, or how we point. Because we, for me, I remember that no, it's just the pointer. Like, we all have different pointers, but where we're pointing is the same thing. It's where Sydney Banks was pointing to. And it was really lovely that you could see that every different speaker had been touched in a different way in life. Like, they've been touched in the same way, I suppose, but that it impacted a different part of their lives, and that's what they then went on to share. And this saying that Sid said, share what you know in a deep way. So not what you know, but what you know. And there was a lot of that in the conference, like what you deeply feel inside your soul as truth, not what you think you know up here. And that came across for me quite strongly, that if you've been touched by the understanding of the principles, or life, or whatever you want to call it, it's an undeniable truth. So it doesn't really, we don't get caught up in the words by which we describe it. It's the place we're coming from that is kind of everything and does the heavy lifting. It provides the love, that it provides the healing. It's the place you're coming from, not what you say. And that was really evident for me, because every single presenter spoke from the place kind of where they were touched, and how it then impacted their lives, and how they saw it one minute and then didn't see it another. And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is kind of being okay with not feeling okay. So in my early days with the principles, I kind of thought, oh, this kind of solves everything. This means that I get to live in nirvana and I get to make really good decisions because they're just coming through me. And then I would have times where I would feel rubbish. And I would think, oh, that's it, then I've lost my understanding. And then I would think that my feeling is a problem. And I suppose what I've seen in the last 6 months is that it's okay to feel what you feel. It doesn't mean anything. It's not personal. And that all it is that you're involved in thought. And you're not seeing that it's thought in the moment, and you're not seeing that it's fluid, and you're not seeing that it's transitory. And when you when you do see that, then everything changes. Everything just the way you saw it before kind of dissolves. But I was thinking that when I felt rubbish, there was something for me to do, or something for me to see in the principles a bit better. And I realized that that's not true. That's just an idea I have, and that's made of thought too. And I more and more am okay with not feeling okay. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful just to be and have that experience, no matter what it is. And even when I am really caught in not seeing my experience for what it is, I just get a sense that there's a nugget in there for me. There's something in there for me to see about my own made up belief stuff, my system, my belief system, my judgments, my opinions. And sometimes I just see it, and then other times it's like after I've seen my perspective and it all kind of settles down, I think, oh, that's why that happened. It's really kind of a bit esoteric, and I don't want to go too fluffy, but it's nice to be able to see, oh yeah, that's really changed the way I see the world, because I've identified that particular belief as thought in the moment, and it's not coming at me from the outside world. Yeah. So I think that's, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's lovely. There was something when you were talking then that occurred to me about when Sid said, if we could just learn not to be frightened of our own experience, that alone would change the world. And that was occurring to me because, yeah, I can remember living in terror and believing that it was all stuff going on out here, and absolutely just being terrified. And now kind of having had the realization, yeah, sometimes I'm just going to feel terrified, but it's, you know, thought passing through and I'm okay. And it's huge when you just see that we're gonna have all kinds of experiences. Human beings are meant to have all sorts of experiences. That's kind of half the fun of it, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone, we've got Katrina and Rachel and Steve here, so I don't know if anyone would like to ask a question at all. Anyone would like to ask Denise anything? Feel free to unmute yourself, jump in, or, you know, I'm sure we can carry on talking. Anyone that knows me will know, you know. But if anyone has got anything that they would like to ask or share, then please feel free to jump in. Or while they're deciding, you know, if anyone wants to, please feel free, that's fine. This is absolutely great to be a conversation. So our conference in November is all about mental health and well-being. So what would you say if someone is watching this and they're maybe not entirely sure what it is we're talking about? What would you say, you know, can you share a little bit that maybe make some sense to someone if they're struggling, you know, with mental health issues, anxiety, those kinds of things? What would you say, you know, why would you say people like that it would be helpful to come to the conference?
Yeah. It's really funny because the first thing that comes up is the fact that we use the mental health in a really strange way conceptually already, and I kind of turn that around and speak to the health in all of us. So we're all mentally healthy, and actually we do get caught up, if you like, in what I think the psychiatrists call mental illness. And yeah, I think if you want to know more about that, how is it that we get to feel the way we feel as human beings? And is it conceivable that there is something you could understand that would allow you some freedom from the pain and the stress and the overwhelm that we feel on a daily basis? And if that piques your curiosity, then this is the conference, I would say, for you, because it's such a beautiful gathering of people. And I was saying this actually to a friend of mine, is 3 principles-based events are unique. Like everybody hits the ground running with love. Like it wouldn't occur to people to be standoffish and guarded and judgmental and opinionated about other people. Like it just doesn't occur at conferences that are 3 principles based. And that in itself is so beautiful because it provides a non-threatening environment for you. And if we're all of us, all human beings, are up against the same thing, which is, in my mind, how seriously we take our thinking, then it would make total sense for us to be all inclusive and having friendship and love at the core of everything that we do together. So if you are struggling with your psychology and the way you feel and perhaps your decisions in life, your parenting or your business career or even your sporting life, if there's anything that you're struggling with, then I would say come to this conference, because there will be so many different speakers all pointing in the same direction. And it's the direction of how is it human beings get to experience life. And what a beautiful thing to see that you're just the same, even with all of your anxieties and stresses. You know what? We're all the same. And we all go through the same thing. And we will, together, we will uncover your brilliance, your amazingness, your genius as a human being. And 2 cells make a human being. That's amazing. And beyond our intellect. And you're no different. If you have stress and anxiety and maybe you have mental illness going on, you're no different. You still have all of that amazingness inside of you. And at this conference, I feel sure that you will touch that. You'll uncover that genius. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's gorgeous. And that absolutely does, that nails it, really, doesn't it? That whole, I think one of the reasons sometimes people find it difficult to come to events like this, if it's a first time and they haven't done anything like this before, is that feeling of being judged and that feeling of being different and that feeling of being the only one. I know when I used to struggle, I would feel like, oh, I'm the only one. I would look at everybody else and think, oh, they've got their life sorted. They don't struggle in this way. They don't have, it's not like that for them. And it's so nice to kind of see, yeah, we're all the same. We're all in this together. And these gatherings are very, very much about, what can we see? Because when we come together and we join and we see that, we become connected, something amazing happens in the room, doesn't it? So that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really lovely. Because I have watched you over the last few years. I saw you speak at Viva last year, and the change in you has been enormous. It's been lovely to see you kind of light up and see what you have seen. It's gorgeous to watch human beings transform as they come into this understanding and begin to have their own insights and begin to see things for themselves. And yeah, so it's just magical, isn't it, when we can get together like this, and there's going to be a room full of absolutely amazing people sharing, like you said. Another brilliant thing about what we're going to be sharing is how inclusive it is. Like you talk particularly about sports and performance, and some of our other speakers, they're going to be speaking about all sorts of things. And it's all those different areas of our lives that this one thing brings together in this most beautiful way. So Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited.
Mm.
So I just wonder if anyone here on the call has got any questions or anything that they would like to share themselves. We've got a quiet bunch with us today, but that's fine.
I'll ask a question, if I may.
You
And
may.
it's kind of, in a way, Denise has hit on it and yourself, but gosh, Denise, it must be a good 4 or 5 years that since we've known one another. And I was sitting just before Deb had said that, the difference in you. Now, obviously, when we met, there was fun because we were hanging out together and all those kind of things. But what I feel as I'm sitting here is how much more present you are in your world. And I always think that's really helpful for people to kind of hear, because it's what Deb says. It's like sometimes it looks like, oh, I want to be you when I grow up. But one of the things about the principles is the fact that it's not about anybody else but you, and understanding that. So I'm curious how you feel. As two of us have commented on the difference that we've seen in you showing up in life, how you feel you show up in life now, which may be different.
It's been it's not always pretty, is it, when we start to see through our own made up stories. And one of the stories that I saw very clearly kind of in the last year, I might get emotional and it's fine, is that I held myself to account for being the best that I could be. So as an athlete, I was a runner and I was very small, I was very tiny, but I was very fast. And I can remember, I thought, where's this come from? And as far back as when I was 7 years old, I won one of my first running races and I came second. And I changed it to first. Like even at 7, I had somehow learned that I wasn't enough unless I came first. And I held that all my life. And that I can still feel that pain, even as we speak, of I wasn't enough unless I was holding myself to really high standards. And so I did get on the treadmill of I'll be better when I have this grade. And I'll be better when I hit this level of career. Or then it got into sport, this level of coach. And it wasn't until I'd worked my way through the system in England and then into Scotland and became their national coach, and then to leave that, if you like, somewhat prematurely after 4.5 years and 18 months out of the Commonwealth Games, I could see with my kind of new realization about my own belief system and what it was made of, that I'd held myself to this incredibly high standard in life. And it was everywhere in my life, as a parent, as a wife, in my career, to the point where even if I wanted to present something, I couldn't do it because I would be so nervous, so fearful that I wouldn't be good enough for myself. Now, most people get that, Steve, because they would feel that they wouldn't be good enough for other people's opinions. And that wasn't my problem. My problem was myself, my own self-sabotage. And about a year ago, it just clicked that I'd led this life of being incredibly self-conscious and self-absorbed. And as soon as I saw it, it all started to just fall away. And it's really funny because then I had this realization of, oh my goodness, you really can trust life. Like, they keep telling me you can, and wisdom will show through. And then I was like, yeah, I've got that. No, I didn't have that at all. You really can trust life, because it's even beyond the notion of trusting. Life, it just is. We are just here. And there's no effort required for me to just be. I'm just here in this moment. And it's so much easier. And that's probably why I've changed so much, because from where I was to seeing I can just be. And that's it. It's incredible. It's just incredible. I can't even articulate the difference. And sure, I get old habitual thinking come about presenting and about speaking, and because that in my mind was my Achilles heel. And I realized that, yeah, right, Denise, yeah, your story of your Achilles heel. And but it comes, but it's not a problem now. I can just feel. And it doesn't come so much anymore. And actually, Steve, to the point where I've actually gone looking for it, because I've been so shocked as to where has it all gone. Like, that's weird. But yeah, it has.
That's incredible. Thank you. And these things, are they huge or are they small? They're paradoxically both, aren't they? Because it is amazing with our stories and these beliefs and things, however they present themselves to us, how much they hold us back. And when they just disappear, it's transformational, it's life-changing.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because I think there's a tendency to recognize intellectually what might be holding you back, and then to try to go and find the answer, even in the principles. And what I've learned is, no, it just falls away in its timing. Like, it's divine timing. It's not up to us. It's like, I was so wanting the insight around presenting, because I knew I would feel so much better if I got it. But then I realized, no, it's not up to us, Denise. If it was up to us what thoughts we got and which thoughts we went with, then you know what? I know that I would be going with the good ones and the nice ones and the ones that feel super good. And that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's an incredibly paradoxical understanding, isn't it? This whole, as we begin to see that it's our thinking, and then it's like, oh, okay, so it's just easy then. What I'll do is this and this. And then it's like, yeah, you kind of don't get to choose in that way. And yet there is something magical that happens when we look in this direction. And sometimes I'm incredibly grateful that I don't get to choose what it is, because sometimes it looks like way too big a job for me to choose the right ones. And sometimes when, you know, further down the line I look back at what happened, I think, well, you know, I wouldn't have chosen that, but actually that's been amazing for me. So it's probably a good thing that we're not in charge in that way, because we might mistake which is what things are good for us and what things aren't.
Absolutely, we would. Yeah, we would.
But there does seem to be an incredible magic in simply understanding. And I think, you know, what you were talking about earlier, that learning to be okay with whatever is in this moment.
Yeah.
I think that is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Because I think the less, as we see it's okay to just feel how we feel in any given moment, we just fight it so much less, don't we? And
yeah.
So thank you for your question, Steve. That was great. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much. Steve is another one of our amazing speakers at the conference, so we will have a chat with him another day. So I don't know if there's anyone else wants to ask anything else, or you know.
I would love to hear a bit more about what you were saying about your realization that you can really trust life. I'm not quite there yet, so I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, lovely to see you, Karina. I guess I started to see that when I look around and I see nature and I see, you know, flowers growing and, you know, living life all around me. And I started to see that, well, how come I think then that humans are so different? And how do I think then that it's up to me? And then I started to see, well, I was here before I ever had any ideas of who Denise might be. And they're just ideas. So there was something going on here. And then when you look at the physiology and you look at this amazing system we've got, especially with the respiratory system and the energy systems that help us to move and move faster or slower or more powerful, I could see that, wow, that's an amazing design. And I'm not doing that. Like Denise is not on that. And that's really interesting to me. And yes, I can go on a training program to, and some of my athletes to develop those energy systems. But the energy system itself, the design of it, is not personal. So then you start to look at, well, what else is not personal? What else can I rely on about being human? Absolutely, 100%, it's going to happen anyway without me involved or the ideas I have of me involved. And I could see that my entire psychology is a part of nature. And I get to have thoughts come into my mind. And, you know, I tend to think of it as energy. And I tend to have a picture of the ocean. And every time I go with a thought, it's like a wave. And the wave comes in and I go with that thought. And it's just really interesting how some thoughts I'll go with and others I won't. And I just thought that's really interesting because I don't really see Denise doing that either. And I really, Karina, got to a point of really feeling that I'm being lived. That there is this intelligence that's just it's just working through my being. And everything I discovered about the physical body and my connection to nature, which is also living, breathing, being, it's just here. It helped me to surrender, if you like, the personal side of life. And it doesn't mean that there aren't things that I like and want, but where I come from when I engage in those things is different, because I know that I'm always okay. And so there is this trust, and it's not even a trust, and I say that word because I have nothing else. But there is this feeling and this sense of the perfection of life itself. And I love what Sid says, something like, life is a dream, I think, suspended in time, space, and matter, something like that. And I really got a sense of it all just is. And there is an absolute nature of that it's totally impersonal. And we as human beings are trying to understand it from the personal. And if we don't, then it kind of opens it up to a sense of the impersonal nature of life and the perfection of that design and that intelligence living through every cell in our body. Yeah, and when Denise tries to make intelligence of it, it's just minuscule. Like you can't. And why would I try? So I'm just left with this. I'm in awe of the life force and in awe of the design of this energy, this love, this feeling of God, whatever you want to call it, in us, of us, in every minute of the day, irrespective of what's going on around us. And it just seems to me, Karina, that life's just so much easier when I let go of the personal or what it is I think I know about life. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. That's lovely. Really lovely. The word surrender came to me right before you said it. And that feels, it's like letting go of outcomes that we are attached to and just, like you were saying, just being and going with the flow and the bumps and the everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it makes for a much more interesting and peaceful way of being in the world. I mean, it's chalk and cheese to how I used to live my life. But I still have the whole spectrum of experience. And I'm up for it as well. But there does seem to be a softer, more relaxed feel about living in this body and mind. And it is like, and I know this is said, like the aperture of life kind of expands and more occurs to you. Yeah. And what it is we think we need is definitely, in my mind, kind of looking in the wrong direction. Because I know I do that. It's like, yeah, but Mm. And then I go, okay, it's fine. Because then I see that it's just me, the ideas of Denise wanting something and preferring something. And it's not up to us. That's just an idea I've got. That's just thought too. No, I'm up for the whole thing of being lived. I love it.
That is trust, I think, because sometimes I know, for me personally, when I first kind of heard about trusting life, I was like, oh, okay, so if I let go, life is going to do what I want it to do then. That's trust. No, I can trust it's going to do what I want. And then I was like, I don't get this trust thing. I keep letting go and it's not doing what I want. It's kind of like, but it's kind of the exact opposite almost in a way. And sometimes it's like, I don't even know what it is I want when you move out of the personal, because what is just beautiful and perfect. And it's that, isn't it? But I know, first of all, when I was doing the trust, I was like, right, okay, so I surrender and I let go and everything I want is just going to happen.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't
it? Do you mind if I just say something? Because Denise, I'm loving where you're sharing from. I'm really loving hearing you. I was a biggie going back in the days on surrender. I would meditate on surrendering. I would pray on surrendering, and I spent all my time living up here on what surrender looked like. And when Denise was talking, I know that fun, bubbly person is still there. But the difference is where Denise is living from has the spectrum of everything that Denise decides to think in that moment. And that's so for everyone. So when I see surrender now, it's not like I have to make a list of what I feel I have to surrender, because that's playing in the form of life. But it's knowing that when you look at what Denise was beautifully pointing to, where the experience comes from, there is no surrendering in that. There's just being with that. And that's the answer I'm hearing, that when I ask Denise, what do you feel is different? Because where she's living from in her experience is knowing that she's both. She is her thinking and she's not. So she doesn't have to believe any of it apart from just be where she is in that moment. And that was night and day different from where I thought I had to be before. So because like surrender was something to me that I kind of kept myself prisoner by, because it looked a certain way. And it's so curious now when we start just seeing it can be whatever way it is, without the attachment of the word we use to describe it. So that really came clear to me, Denise, when you were sharing. So thank you. I had an insight around that. I just saw that really fresh. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. That's beautiful, Steve. Well done. That's lovely.
Yeah, that was really lovely. Thank you very, very much for sharing. So has anyone got anything else that they would like to share or offer on this call?
That's it, I've done it. I'm trying to do the unmute there. I just want to say thank you, really. It's just been lovely listening to you. And yeah, that real sense of trust really is, you just breathe, really. It's just like relax, yeah. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, really, and it's really lovely to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
I think that is a really, really lovely place to end, unless there is anything else you would like to share, Denise, because I just think that has been a gorgeous conversation.
No, that's lovely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conference and hanging out with you guys. It's always such fun. So yeah, and good luck, Steve, with your
yeah, you got a oh, you have a high bar, didn't I, Steve?
Oh, so funny.
So thank you, Denise.
I make a note, Steve, to come on yours as well.
That's
so
been
lovely.
a truly beautiful conversation. So wherever, if you're watching this recording or anyone that's on here, I will post a thing about where you can get tickets for the conference if you want to join us. If you are not on our mailing list, if you sign up to our mailing list, we're going to be putting out some special offers and things for people on our mailing list to join us at the conference. So do either join us or look out for those or get in touch or whatever, but we would just love to fill that room, because I know that was just a tiny snippet, and when you're actually together, there is something truly amazing that when we come together in that beautiful feeling that just expands in ways you can only imagine. The love and the depth of feeling in the room last year when we did this conference was just mind-blowing. It was truly beautiful. So we are really looking forward to it. So that's in November. I think it's the 14th to the 16th in North Devon. So thank you very, very much, everyone, and we will speak to you all again soon. Take care. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.